Guys, we're going to be reading on how you express yourself. The first pile is going to be a quarter. The second pile is going to be a nickel. And the third pile is going to be penny. At pile 1, you chose quarter. Chose the quarter. This is going to be a reading on how you express yourself. We got the Tarot del Toro. Spirit, how does pile 1 express themselves? For some of you, we have third pentacle. For some of you, you express yourself through your work. Or the way you express yourself is that of having efficiency, being grounded, really just looking for the efficiency in the situation. You know, when you talk, you aren't just saying opinions, you're bringing facts into it and material knowledge to like make it make sense. And you're always sort of on a path of like progressiveness when you talk. Or when you express yourself. I'm hearing you would be good in a work environment that you enjoy, in which like leadership, or you are an individual or your own boss or whatever, individual company. I feel like you also express yourself by working on yourself. It's like you feel like you are most expressing yourself when you are working on yourself, or working on your shadow side, or working on your healing, and helping other people work on it too. And you're like, oh, we're all working on this together. Still, I feel like even though you express yourself very efficiently and groundedly, I feel like on the inside you're a very deep person, a very deep person who's just seen a lot, or just has a deep and complex understanding of things, naturally. I feel like you have a tough exterior that you express mostly for other people and for yourself, just to like, you know, we got to get things done. There's no point mudding it up or making it harder by being whiny about it, or being all doubtful or hemming and hawing about it. We're just gonna get it done. And that's your like, but then on your interior, you tend to soak everything in almost. It's like you're very observant, and it's just kind of like all around you, and you're also deeply sensitive to things. It's not like you're a sensitive person or a crybaby. It's more like you're very hyper aware of the things going on around you, especially emotional nuances, which things subconsciously sort of just tend to make sense for you in ways that they don't for others. And I feel like sometimes that tends to come out in your expressions, where like you'll say something in a moment of clarity and people will be like, damn, that was deep as fuck, what the fuck, that makes so much sense. But it's just like you having that moment where you're able to express that deepness coming out of you, because usually it just like stays inside of you. But you'll have those moments where you're like giving advice, or you're talking passionately about something, or you're having a deep conversation with people. Yeah, it tends to be in like your speech. It's like your expression of speech. You see things on a very deep level, so you express them on a deep level too. I'm also feeling like I don't feel like you consciously try to express yourself this way. I feel like this is something that other people see from your expression, is that you're there for other people. You're holding a torch for other people. It's not like you're a pushover, you're codependent or anything. Alright, it's not like you're easily pushed over by other people. It's just that like you're willing to be there for other people. You're willing to carry someone else's message for them. I don't know, because just look at this Knight of Goblets. Look how he's carrying that guy on his back so this guy can like speak his emotional message. That's you, Pile 1. It's like giving me Leo energy of like speaking for the collective. It's like leadership again. And people, you lead truly by being the voice of others. You lead by letting the group lead you. You know what I mean? So that's how other people see your expression, really, is someone who can be a leader because you're willing to put yourself below other people. You're willing to put yourself or like you're willing to put yourself exactly at their position. It's like, when I say below, I mean it's like all rivers sort of flow to the sea kind of below. It's like I get this vision of a person who like gets under someone so they can give them a boost up. And it's not just one person. You're like there and doing that for everybody. When you're having a conversation with them and you're expressing yourself, you're just like, that's the kind of energy that people get from you, is that like you're there to help give them a boost, and help them feel more you help people feel like they can more truly express their emotions. But again, I don't think you realize this on a conscious level. I think it's just something your soul naturally does, and people notice this about you, about your way of expression. It's like if you had a conversation with someone, you'd be hyping up what they say and asking questions about what they're talking about, or like relating it to your own experiences. It's like you're really good at talking to people, I'm hearing, or keeping a conversation going and not making it all about you. You're good at making someone feel engaged in a conversation, because you're very creative with the way you talk to someone or the way you go about continuing a conversation. And I feel like that's also something people really notice about your expression of like speech. I don't know. You express yourself in like a very humble and noble way. Like, you're like, I'm not all that, but I'm also not just nothing. You know, I mean something just like everybody else, everything else. It's like you're humble about it though. You're not sitting there always bragging on yourself when you go through a new stage in life. You're not sitting there talking about it to everyone. When you have a new idea, you aren't sitting there telling everybody about it. You go and start making actions towards that new idea and let people see the results. I don't know. You're just not the type of person to think other people are going to care about your life like that, so you're just like, I'm going to go do it on my own. No, it's nobody else's business but my own. And it's not even coming from a place of arrogance. It's actually coming from a place of being humble. How else does my pile one express themselves? One more card. We have the Magician. I'm feeling like you kind of express yourself in a dark way. Like, there's nothing particularly dark about these cards. There's no dark symbolism. And on the contrary, these cards seem rather light and uplifting and progressive. But I just get this inner sense, this underlying read between the lines kind of, not everything is what it seems about you. And I feel like people sense other, like, you express this sort of mysteriousness of, like, I don't know. At first, when people see you on the surface, they see this light, progressive, uplifting energy. And it's like, as they get closer, as they look closer at the details, it's like something off-putting or something they can't quite. It's like there's a missing puzzle piece, and it's mysterious to them because, like, it's something only you would know or only you would have pile one that other people can't understand about you. So it's just like this weird expression of like this dark, mysterious energy. And the reason it's so dark is because no one can understand it. No one can like decipher what exactly it is or what it's coming from. Although people do get pretty curious about it. It's just interesting because it's interesting because they don't know what it is, if that makes sense. I'm also seeing like you express yourself in a sort of like, you're not trying hard to like say what you're saying or do what you're doing. It just sort of flows out of you. It just sort of happens. You're not trying super hard to make it happen. I'm also seeing that like there's a sort of magic to your movements. Maybe not even conscious. For some of you it is a conscious thing. But it's just like the way you move in particular, your body movements and your facial expressions are just like seem otherworldly and magical. Like you express yourself in a way that seems like you are making magic or you are creating. It's like you're painting or creating the song of yourself as you are moving. I feel like people can really understand your expression through your eyes. Like people always go straight for your eyes when they're looking at you because it's like something about your eyes is really telling about your entire expression. It's like you could be expressing yourself, but then when people look into your eyes, it's like they're like, oh, okay, I see what Pao Wen is saying. For some of you have very intense eyes, like yeah, but for some of you, you might actually do magic or have witchcraft or something like that you do. And it's a huge part of your expression. It's a huge part of the way you express yourself. And I don't know if you realize that or not. For some of you do. I think it just like is part of what plays into that mysterious vibe so much of just like there's this huge inner world about you, Pao Wen, that people could never understand. Witchcraft is so crazy. But it's like you have so much power in your movements and like it's easily expressed anytime you move, talk, lift a finger, you're breathing, you're existing, anything. It's just like that witchy vibe, that like creepy ambient vibe. That, like older than time. I also see that if some of you have like creative art or whatever, creative expressions of art or whatever, they feel very real and raw to people. Like when people look at your art, whatever it is, it's just like they're like, yeah, that's art, man. That's art. You know, it just feels like some unique shit, some real art. You know, like you're really creative. You express yourself very creatively. I feel like, and people just see that because you express it so much. It's just very creative the way you create art, or even just create your self expressions. People see your self expressions as art because of how creative you can be with it. And people also feel like you're very crafty with your words. Like you express yourself with your words, you express the exact truth of what you believe in the situation, and you use every tool at your disposal to do so. And it's like some people take it well, and some people are like, yeah, no, that makes sense. And other people are like, no, the truth. It like rips away all of their illusions, and they're like, get me out of the light. But the truth is always the same once it's coming from you. Like, it's like people either love you or they hate you, Pile One. And it's just because anytime you talk, anytime you're expressing yourself, you're expressing the truth as you see it. There's a lot of people jealous of the way you express yourself. I'm feeling like a lot of people in your past who are just like really jealous of the way you express yourself, because there's just something so beautiful about it. I know that's like cliche or like vague, but like people can't help look at this Queen of Wands. People can't help but being like, yeah, they got it. No other questions asked. They move on with their life. Like people are like, oh yeah, Pile One's one of those people who just has it. They're just that person. They're just that bitch. And everybody's just accepted it. But it, like, for some reason that ticks people off. That ticks some of the people who don't like you off. They're like, Pile One thinks they can express themselves like that. Everyone likes Pile One, and I'm sure Pile One loves that. Blah, 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 blah. I don't know. That's crazy. You're just out here expressing yourself, and people are like, huh? They're like irked by how beautiful it is. They're irked by how much people respond to it. Yeah. You express yourself very abundantly. You're very giving. You don't give too much. You're always progressive with what you say, and you're always trying to keep balance in the situation. It gives you this very like strong masculine energy. You express yourself with this masculine energy of like groundedness and progressiveness, especially with regards to material events and situations. You've helped a lot of people out with material events and situations, is what I'm hearing. You express your emotional truths very deeply. You're able to conjugate and break them down in a very complex manner that's still understandable to people. Like these complex emotional truths within you, you are able to simplify them, even with their complexity, in a way where people can understand in context to the situation. It's just this, you express yourself with a lot of truth. There's a lot of truth coming from this, and clarity. I feel a lot of clarity coming from your expression. I feel like people around you feel that clarity too, of just like, oh, things make sense now. This things are being put into the light. I can finally see and understand about certain things. Especially when it comes to emotional truths, you're very knowledgeable and wise about that in your expressions of speech. Pawan. I also feel like you're very upfront about your life. You're not sitting here lying about anything. You're not keeping secrets. You're very upfront about who you are as a person. And yeah, that's just how you express yourself. It's just like, this is who I am. This is truthfully who I am. This is how I see things honestly and with clarity. And you express yourself with this like sort of alluring magnetic darkness. Like you can see the shadow side and the light side of like everything, the universe, everything, and in yourself, Pawan. And you express it with such beautiful balance that it's almost creepy. It's almost terrifying. Hi, Pao-Tu. You chose this nickel. This is gonna be a reading on how you express yourself. Immediately, I think of Ireland. When I was like 9, I went to Ireland, and we visited these old castles, these old abandoned castles, and everything was so foggy. It would rain every other day there. There's just something very luscious, very old as the earth, old as nature, old as Mother Earth. And you feel that sense of stability and comfort that Mother Earth would give you. The beautiful times when it's foggy and creepy outside, or raining in the forest, and everything is gray and just sort of neutral. That's the sort of energy I'd be getting off of you, Pao-Tu. As in how you express yourself. We have 5 of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, the King of Cups in reversed, the King of Goblets. Actually, it's sideways. King of Goblets sideways. Nope, it's reversed. Sorry, it's definitely reversed. My bad. And then the Emperor reversed. The Emperor reversed. I don't know. I feel like there's a seriousness to your energy that people just sense whenever you walk into the room. It's sort of like the baseline of your personality. Which is not to say you can't be playful. You're actually very playful, and you have a very dark but witty sense of humor type person, Pao-Tu, but there's this seriousness about you that people just automatically feel when you express yourself. There's a wiseness, a sort of sad knowing, a sad sort of knowing, sad sort of knowingness. I feel like when you express yourself, people get a sense that your understanding of the world goes a long way. A long way. There's something chaotic about your energy. It's nothing about what you say, it's nothing about what you do. It's just, it's not even that you're expressing it with your movements or your voice. It's just that, like, your energy has this expression of, like, chaos. Or uprising. An uprooting of previous foundations. For some of you, you might express yourself with, like, time. It's sort of like maybe you have, like, powers of time, or you can see through time, see different timelines, go back in time, go forward in time. Something about time and your control over it, your relationship to it, is a big part of how you express yourself, especially with regards to how you treat the past and what you do with what you've done in the past. It's not about what you do, but what you do with what you've done for others. I'm just playing with you guys. If y'all don't know what that was like some guy's speech when he got an award at, like, Teen Choice Awards or something. I'm sure it wasn't actually Teen Choice Awards. I'm making fun of him, but you should look that up. It's funny as fuck. He's like, he has that smolder bro face. But with Five of Pentacles, I don't know. You're not, again, it's like, you're not consciously expressing this, but, like, there's this energy of, like, assertiveness, or like, it's almost a primal sort of assertiveness, in a dark way, that maybe, like, puts fear over others. It's not that you control other people through fear, it's just, like, people can sort of naturally fear this serious energy, this chaotic energy, this assertive and almost dark energy. And it's not that you're trying to express that to people, but it's just coming, again, it's coming from your vibe. It's just coming from your natural vibe. And maybe you've had problems with that in the past, of, like, you try to express yourself, but people are just so caught up in their fears over you that they aren't even listening to you. It's like people are threatened by your authority, even though no one gave you any particular authority. It's just people automatically assign this sort of position of authority to you subconsciously when you're in, like, a room with other people. It just happens. I feel like you express yourself in a way where you're, like, letting other people underestimate you. You're not as humble as Pile 1 is, for sure. You are a humble person. You're not arrogant. You're not as humble as Pile 1. I just feel like you kind of like to let people underestimate you. So when you express yourself, you're not going to be sitting here boasting on yourself. You're not going to be sitting here doing all this other stuff. But it's, for you, it's not really coming from a place of humbleness like it is with Pile 1. For you, it's coming from a place of, like, I'll let people underestimate me because it puts you at an advantage later in the future. Yeah, there's no particular malice coming from that, but it's just you prefer to express yourself in a way where you're not letting people know the full story. You like to leave people guessing. You don't like people to know those things about you. you don't like people to know most things about you. You're kind of a private person. You express yourself in a way where you keep intact your privacy while still seeming conversationable and agreeable. And I feel like you're the type of person to like make do with what you have. You're not the type of person to be like, I need this, I need that, I need more. You're just making do with what you have. Because maybe you've had to get by on your own in the past, or get by with very little. And so that's just something that's never gonna change about you. You're never gonna raise your expectations to the point where you are spoiled like that. The Wheel of Fortune here. I feel like you're just the type of person, Pile 2, where you could really go into any situation and talk to people. Like, no matter who they are, no matter what their story is, like, you could end up having a conversation with them, because you're just the type of person who could, like, adapt to any situation, especially with your expressions. You can just really be, like, vibing and into the situation. In any situation, you can bring all of that energy of yourself to the table in almost any situation. You're just very adaptable, and you're not very closed-minded. You're comfortable with going outside of your own bubble, and not just tentatively either. I feel like you express yourself in a way where you're very open to things. You're very open to other options. You're very open to like all kinds of different timelines or possibilities, realities. I don't know, it's crazy because I feel like you've gone through so fucking much, Pile 2, but it feels like you every single day are discovering something even fucking crazier than all the shit you've already discovered, and it's like, god damn. It just keeps getting crazier as it goes on. You've met a lot of people. You've met a lot of souls. You've reflected with a lot of souls. And I feel like that's made you a seasoned person and has made you grow a lot. It's kind of what made you grow up in the first place. Is your reaction to the people around you. You're the type of person, you have this personality where you let things be. You let things come as they may and leave as they will. You know, you just, if a situation is bad, a situation is bad. If the situation is good, a situation is good. You're not complaining, you're just going with it, you know? And it's like, up, down, up, down. You're cool with it. You have no qualms. So you just go with the flow of things really well, where you're like, you never really let the highs and lows bother you too much, because you still have that indifference or that state of neutrality and grayness that keeps you grounded on the inside. I feel like you realize that everything comes back to the center, or everything relies on the center. You're just a very wise and mature person. The way you talk about things, the way you just are passionate, the things you are passionate about are very mature things to be passionate about. Not mature as in sexual, but like mature as in these are serious things that we need to actually be passionate about. You are very, I feel like you believe and you have a lot of hope for there to be change in the world. Um, Whatever that change may be or however that may come, like you have a lot of belief and hope in it. And you share your knowledge, you express your knowledge in particular to help make that happen. I feel like you're not always a good person, pal, too. You make mistakes just like everyone else, but in the long run, you make your choices for the greater good, not only of yourself, but of just the state of things in general. I feel like you're the type of person to not just be thinking about yourself most of the time. It's like, for you, it's about everyone. Yeah. And once something is gone, once something is ended, you're like, it's run its course. It's done what it was there when it needed to be. It's done what it needed to do. I can leave it behind. Like, you're very accepting of things, and you don't let things bottle up within you at all, because I don't know, you instead express, if that makes sense. Like, you don't let it go in, you express it. You express your emotions. Yeah, you just express your emotions. That's what it is. Like, you internalize the logicalities of it, but on the outside, you're like, woo, let there be emotions, bro. I don't fucking know. It's crazy. Because, like, I feel like on the inside, you're just, like, sort of, like, watching things from a sort of Aquarius, Libra, like, neutrality point of view. You're just observing objectively. But on the outside, you're like, going crazy. And I feel like this isn't by choice. This is just your personality. So maybe you've had to sort of channel all of that emotions constantly coming out of you into something. Whether it's a job or a hobby or a daily routine of some sort. But yeah, I feel like, yeah, you're just the type of person to, like, be very logical and very objective, but at the same time be very expressively emotional, or, like, know exactly how to express your emotions in the particular way to be exactly what your emotions mean. Which you've definitely been able to use to your advantage in situations, which, again, tying back to this, you allowing people to underestimate you. Because I feel like later on, people don't realize how emotionally mature, understanding knowledge you have. Especially when it comes to situations where people try to use you, manipulate you, play you, whatever the fuck it is. I'm hearing give the devil his dues. I'm feeling like maybe you are in a position, pal, too, where you express yourself in the world where people end up having to repay their karmic debts to the devil, to you. Now, I'm not saying you're tied to the devil. Some of you might be. But it's like you are in a karmic position where, like, when people are having to pay back their karma, they're having to pay it back to you. Because of emotional issues. These karmic issues are always emotional issues when it comes to you, because you have that emotional understanding, that baseline of emotional seriousness and understanding of just the eternal wheel of things. And it's just like, yeah. What goes around comes around. Karma is real, and I'm feeling like you are karmically put in a position of justice where, like, you are with your emotional wiseness and understanding and your expression of it, forces other people to give the devil his due. It forces other people to repay their own karmic debts, basically. And yeah, it's like everyone has a dream in life, everyone has a wish, everyone goes about it in some way, but it's like you can't have a wish without something being taken back. So it's like you are sort of that energy where things are now being taken back. That's you, Pile 2. That's how you express yourself. And maybe that's why I'm feeling this energy where people get obsessed with you, Pile 2, is just because things sort of to fall back on your energy because you have that baseline of indifference. You have that baseline of like the gray area. So things just sort of fall back on you like they fall back on the center because you sort of tend to express yourself in a way where you are residing at that center. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose this penny, there's going to be a rating on how do you express yourself? Spirit, how does Pile 3 express themselves? How does Pile 3 express themselves? How does Pile 3 express themselves? We have 8 of Cups. How does Pile 3 express himself? We have Ace of Goblets. One more card. How does Pile 3 express himself? We have 2 of Cups. So, all of these are cups. We have 8 of Cups, Ace of Cups, and 2 of Cups. You might be a water sign for some of you, probably, or just have major water sign energy in your chart. I feel like you're kind of a quiet person, or maybe just a sleepy looking person. For some of you, you can be very loud and firm with your words, but for others of you, not at all. You're actually pretty quiet with your words. Maybe for some of you, you're even sometimes loud and then sometimes real quiet. I just feel like whether you're loud or you're quiet, people always feel like you're super outspoken. Not out of like loudness, but outspoken out of the realness and the quality of your words. Like anytime you talk, people feel like you're bringing something to the table. You don't really get stuck in the past with things, Pile 3. You're like, why should I let the past bother me? If people come to you about their problems with the past, you're just like, you're emotionally consoling them, but your end goal is like, bro, you need to move on. You just need to move on. And that's the truth. I feel like you're the type of person who's not really here for all these muddy emotional situations, all these people not moving on or just being stuck in the past. It's like there's no reason not to move on. There's just, you express yourself in a very considerate and caring way, and empathetic, but more just like understanding. And there's a softness to that understanding. You're not sugarcoating it, but you're not being mean or derogatory or impatient about it. You're just like, it is what it is. And you let people come to that conclusion on their own. But if they're going to be asking you, that's what you're going to be saying. Whether they still need time to come to that conclusion or not. I feel like even when people are like, oh, whatever, you don't know what you're talking about, pal one, you're just like, okay. It's like, it's not a huge deal to you. It's not a huge deal for you to convince people to have that same mindset. You're just like speaking your part, speaking your truth. However that helps them or doesn't help them. You're not really a glass half empty or a glass half full person. You're just like, whatever. There's just this softness to your energy. It's not even that you're like a real sweet person, pile 3. You're just comforting almost in a way that people can't describe. I also feel like there's this sort of ethereal quality to the way you move, or just the way you look in general, and the light. When the light hits you, I'm also just seeing like just a white aura. Like you just have a very clear and clean aura. Pile 3. When you're expressing yourself, people can really just feel that clean and clear-minded clarity coming from you and your expression and the things you say or do. There's not a whole lot of confusion surrounding the way you express yourself. You're pretty clear. People really see what you're saying. Even if they aren't ready to accept it. And, you're just a balanced person. You can see all sides of a situation while not being blind to, like, people's inner truths. In the situation, I feel like at the same time, though, you are very focused on the emotional realities and the emotional truth of things, and you don't really care about anything else. It's like logical stuff, material stuff, passionate stuff. All that stuff doesn't matter in the wake of the emotional truth, the emotional reality. Because that's just sort of how you express yourself. That's just sort of your perspective of things you know. And the things you care about. I feel like the way you express yourself isn't even particularly emotional or particularly creative or outstanding. I just feel like it's to the point. And it's just to the point. It's like, it is what it is. This is what it is. And I feel like other people end up getting in their feelings about that. Like, other people end up crying about it or just feeling emotionally open up, or like their heart chakra starts opening or something. Like, there's not much emotionality to your words. You kind of speak very simply, but it's like that simple little thing just ends up cracking people in two. It's like how a drop of water over time can just end up cracking an entire rock in two. Yeah, and I feel like even if people don't accept or understand what, or try to understand what you're trying to say in the moment, or they don't accept your actions in that moment, I feel like it ends up weathering on them. Like that lack of being able to understand, that inability to just like step out of their arrogance, it ends up weathering on them because of the way you express yourself, Pal 3. It's like those things you say and those actions you make with other people, because they're so truthful, it ends up weathering on people in the long run, or echoing in their mind. I feel like everyone deep down we all have some things we need to move on from, and then some people, most people, yeah, everyone has stuff that they don't want to move on, from, and some people are a little bit more violent and aggressive about it. And I feel like those are the things you sort of snuff out, is that sort of violent repulsion to moving on from something. I feel like you sort of weather that down over time until it just becomes acceptance. Wherever that energy lies, you just end up snuffing it out when it comes near you or approaches you. Yeah. You're very transparent. You always speak your emotional truth. You're always saying the full truth. You're never keeping anything back or holding back information. You speak the whole truth and nothing but the truth. You'd be good in court, Pile 3. And I feel like this ends up making people really attracted to you with the Two of Cups here, is this emotional honesty makes people really like attracted to your energy, or just like this softness about you, this soft truth. Makes people really like you. Might have a lot of admirers, Pile 3, but just in general, people feel comforted by you. There's almost just this like soft, ethereal, angelic, motherly vibe. Emphasis on the angelic and divine. Feels like to other people, you feel like you're coming from a divine place, Pile 3. And when you express yourself, people see you as very divine, and your expressions are coming from a place of divinity. Some people may even see you as being connected to God, or having the appearance of a deity or angel of some sort. But yeah, and I feel like in turn, some people can be harsh to you, but most of the time people are very nice and always respectable towards you. Like, people tend to always end up respecting you on an emotional level, Pile 3, because like they see that realness, they see that honesty, and they strive to meet it. The only people who don't strive to meet it are people who aren't emotionally honest within themselves. And because of this, I feel like anytime you enter a relationship of any kind with anyone, it's always deeply fulfilling and deeply reflective, and always has deep impacts on both you and the other person's life. You always touch people on a very deep level because of this gentle approach to realness and emotional maturity, emotional stability that you have and that you bring other people towards. you're a very loving person. You express yourself in a way where you have a lot of love for people. You have a lot of understanding and patience for them. And I feel like you really admire anyone you meet, and you really just love them for who they are. You just see them as very beautiful for all their unique little qualities. You see other beings almost like art forms. You see the world around you as an art form, and you just admire it constantly. You're humble in that you admire the world around you as much as you admire yourself. And there's just this strong sense of peace and clarity to it, to your energy, to your beauty, that people admire about you because you just so easily express it. It's just rare, for people to have emotional stability and emotional truth in the world. And something about you is just really refreshing, like a breath of fresh air to other people. This emotional honesty and truth that you have. This emotional progressiveness, like your ability to move on and help others move on and believe it's okay to move on, and it's necessary to move on, to let go of the past. Like that's you express that truth in almost everything you do, like that necessity to move on and let go and let things be. Therefore, your emotional health and your emotional stability can be fulfilled. And you can have that love for yourself, and in turn have that love for the world around you. I feel like you see that everyone secretly needs that emotional love and stability, and that's why you're such an advocate for it. You stay emotionally stable within yourself, Pile 3, and you let go and move on, and you hold true to your emotional truth and honesty, Pile 3, so that in turn, when you help other people or when you're expressing yourself to other people, you can help them do the same. You can reflect that same energy onto them and learn from them in turn. You see a lot of beauty in every interaction, and you make the most out of every interaction to the point where it's unbearably beautiful. Like you express such clarity in anything you come into contact with that you give it a touch of purity. You make it that slightly much more beautiful.